Hi guys, welcome back or welcome if you are new. My name is Tiana and I'm the maker behind Also Stitched, and we are continuing preparing for Supanova Comic Con and Gaming Convention happening here in Sydney in only 2 days. I'm stressed, I'm not gonna lie, I have left everything for last minute. Today I need to put all the inventory into Shopify and tag all my products. I have already cut my tags. I'm gonna actually show you that in the last video. I designed all my tags on Canva and then I cut them on Cricut. That is all done. Now I need to put everything in Shopify, print my barcodes and tag all the plushes. It's not a lot, but it's manageable. I'm gonna do it today. And of course, last minute I have started to cut my embroidery keychains and that is killing my hand. I don't know why I left that for last week, but oh boy, I'm so stressed. It is Wednesday for me today, and today I'm filming everything that I made last week. Tomorrow I need to film everything that I made this week, which this week is very short. It's from Monday to Thursday because we are setting up on Thursday and I'm overwhelmed. I'm not gonna lie, I'm stressed. I can't wait for Monday to not do anything. My husband is also taking a day off, and then next week is my son's birthday and we have birthday party going on. It's a lot. I just can't wait for Monday for all of this to be done and my anxiety to calm down. This was a big week with market prep. I did a lot. I'm looking at my numbers and I did $799 in dollar value of my plushes, which is amazing. I'm gonna be honest with you, the only category that I'm very lacking of are very small plushes, like a cheap dollar value, and Pokemons. As much as I've been here talking about Pokemon selling very well, those are the characters that I need the least. So yeah, it was a busy week and let's go straight into it because I have a lot to share. There are a lot of new patterns. There are some... Do we have free? Yeah, we have free patterns, but those are like my standard ones. Let's start with the free patterns. Also, I was again in my de-stash mode, so once I picked the yarn, I was working through it, and gray Modavira blanket was one of those yarns. So I completely de-stashed my gray Modavira blanket yarn and I made 3 of the rats. These are my very good sellers. I was selling this last year very good, and this year I have priced them $28 and I made 3 of them. I think I might have another in stock. So this is free pattern from Instagram. I can't remember the designer. Everything will be linked down below. Free and paid patterns separately, so it's easier for you to find. These are such a quick make. I mean, it is a bit slower because it is Modavira blanket yarn and it is very slow to work with this yarn because how chunky it is, but I just love the size. I can easily get $28 for them and I love them. They've been selling really good. So yeah, we have 3 of my popular rats. And yeah, continuing this stashing. Love that. Next, we have Luma. This is another free Instagram pattern. I love this. This is such a quick make. I am charging Luma for $25 and I made 3 of them. I didn't de-stash this yarn. I have a lot of yellow yarn still in my stash, so I think I'm out of the ice with yeah, this one is actually very bad because there is some chip, white paint is chipped, so I do have 2 better looking ones. I have completely de-stashed of this yarn with white dots. I can switch to fully black, but I just didn't have time to make more than 3 of them. So yeah, Luma, it's been selling really good. I mean, I made only 1 and sold 1 on the first day debut, so I assume it's gonna sell. So I was mostly focused on my smaller makes around $25. I'm really lacking on cheaper items like 15 keychains or 18 in my smaller basket, but oh well, I at least have a lot of plushes in a $25 to $30 range. So yeah, we have 3 Lumas. 30 is in the bag down there, so trust me, it is there. Free Instagram pattern. We are going with the smaller makes first. This is Chonkimon Gengar by Naughty Nat. I actually paid for some of these patterns just because I prefer PDF version, and I think this is free pattern on her Instagram. If I find it still as a free pattern, I'm gonna link it for you. Whatever version I find, I'm gonna link both of them down below. Paid pattern and free on Instagram. This was me destashing that Parfait XXL yarn that I talked in my previous video where I was showing you my yarn stash. I said that I'm gonna destash all of the Parfait XXL. I didn't manage to. I just wasn't in the mood, I guess. So I did manage to destash the purple one, and this is my last Gengar. I was selling them for $40, maybe even $45. I put them here for $40, but I'm happy to have $40 for him because he's really quick make. It is just extremely chunky yarn, that's why he is bigger. There is one Chonkimon Gengar, and I prefer the way Gengar looks in Chonkimon versions from Naughty Net rather than the version from Backmate Studio. I don't know, I just prefer this look. It is rounded, chunky, it looks more like Gengar than the other one. It is a personal preference, nothing against the other pattern. I kind of like the green smile on him rather than the other one I think has sticking tongue, but oh well. Just a personal preference. I really love this pattern and they've been selling really good, and it is a quick make. This is all no sew, everything is surface crochet and it's very quick make. When it comes to destashing Parfait XXL, I managed to go through the gray one. So I made Totoro. This one, unfortunately, I just checked this morning when I was preparing to film this video. This pattern is unfortunately no longer available. I bought this pattern last year and I made a couple of them. Then I tried the Instagram free version, but I just didn't like the ears. I prefer this one. But unfortunately, I can't list this pattern for you guys because it is no longer available. The pattern is by Micajon Verde. It is a Spanish designer. I wish I can link these guys to you because it is such a beautiful pattern. I love that there is just the bobbles, even his tail is just the bobble, and it is straightforward, so easy to make, and look how big he is in a Parfait XXL. I think I made a couple of in Hobby Toucan. They were like this size, like a pocket size. This is just the perfect medium size, and I love the leaf on top. It is so cute. The only thing I did was ears. I did modification to ears just because in the pattern you're supposed to make 2 ears and sew them on, and I just couldn't be bothered with sewing because Parfait XXL is not easy to sew with. So what I did is I did the exact same ears as they are done in Gengar. This is just the surface crochet. This is the first thing I made, and then when I looked into these ears I was like, this is just the perfect ears for Totoro, so why do I need to sew the ears? And I did the same ears on Totoro and it is just the perfect. I didn't want to be bothered with sewing ears, so this works. It was so easy and this is the way I will continue making them. Out of that gray I managed to get 2 Totoros. So for this size I will be charging $55 for them. It is a fair price for the size you get. I mean, they are cute, they are chunky, they are just adorable. So I'm not gonna lie, Parfait XXL is really soft. I prefer this yarn over Modavira just because it is so soft to work with. I mean, essentially this is chenille yarn. This is not a blanket yarn. And it is so soft. It glides so nice. It is really nice to work with it. And even just touching it in my hands compared to Modavira blanket yarn, it is superior. I'm not gonna lie. I just wish it's not shedding as bad as it's shedding. Parfait is shedding worse than my Hobby Toucan. And for that reason, I just can't justify the price of the Parfait. I haven't tried the Parfait Chunky just because everyone is talking about how shedding that yarn is. My Hobby Toucan is shedding, but not as bad as everyone is talking about Parfait Chunky, and compared to XXL, I can only imagine it's gonna shed as bad as this is shedding. But this is really good. Yeah, this is really nice and soft yarn, so I honestly can't justify the price. So it really depends if you are willing to pay more just to have the yarn that has less strain on your hands. In the end, that's all it is about, because yes, Modavira is cheap, but it really hurts your hands over the long period of time, while I don't think this would hurt my hands because it's really soft and glides on the hook very easily. So yeah, Micajon Verde. In case they ever come back on Etsy, feel free to check them out. And then of course I had to make Appa. Appa is always very popular at Comic-Con conventions, and I had to make him. And this is the smallest pattern that I could find that was fairly easy without too many bells and whistles, even though this is still a lot of work. Look how tiny he is. This is done in Bernat blanket. Yeah, this is completely Bernat blanket, but from the mill ends. From the mill ends. I was thinking, do I have... And I went with the gray colors. First of all, I didn't have brown in mill ends or Bernat blanket. And second of all, I went to research, is it really brown or gray? And it is both. Essentially, it could be gray or brown because it is something in the middle, like a grayish color. So I went with what I had in my stash. I did make the arrow brown, and it is a lot to work on it. So let me tell you, so the main part is very easy. That's the best part because that's what you're actually crocheting. You have some bubbles down there and that's it. Then everything else goes on top of it. So you are doing this fringe hair, whatever it is. You are surface crocheting 2 ears, 2 horns, and arrow down the body and tail. And the tail is also surface crocheted after. And on the bottom it ends with a gray color. So in the end, crocheting part is the least what you are doing. Surface crocheting is the worst part. And how I did it, I actually surface crochet everything before I have changed to this color and closed off. Just because it was so much easier for me to hide all of these tails before I have closed off the body, because tucking in the end tails after surface crocheting is so much harder than just tying a knot inside before you close the body off. Of course, you can't do that with tail and the surface crochet arrow, but everything else I did before closing off. And I did 5 of these. I'm gonna charge $28 for each. Even though they are very small, they should be in a category of $25. But they take forever. They just take forever with everything that's going on. The pattern is by Abby Jade Art. Is it Abby or Abby? Whatever. Abby Jade Art. And I love the pattern. It is really nice pattern. It is quick design. I mean, I was looking into some of the bigger Appa designs, which one I want to make, but I just couldn't make up my mind. So I went with the smaller ones just because I knew I don't have time to make a bigger one. Also, I've been embroidering keychains in Appa, and I'm gonna show that to you in the next video because I'm still working on them. And I actually bought all the characters from the avatar, because when I asked my daughter which character is the most popular character, which one should I have in keychains, and we were going through the list, and she was just this one, this one, this one, this one, and in the end she actually showed all of them. I have another 10 characters that I was supposed to embroider, but I didn't. I just didn't have time to go through 10 different characters because I'm not even sure how to display all of them. So in the moment I have only embroidered Appa, and I think I won't do all the other characters because it is just too much. As much as I wanted to, there's no way. Honestly guys, when it comes to my embroidery, I bought around 200 characters and I think I didn't do a third of them. I had huge plans, but none of them happened. Expectation versus reality, it's a different story, okay? We'll talk about that maybe in the future. I managed to make 5 Appas. I don't have them all here. They are in the bag. I can't reach all of them, so yeah, trust me, there is 5 of them. So $28, and I'm curious to see if these will sell. If not, I think they will sell at my uni markets because they are lower price range and my students love this. Alright, so my next one is by Shine Crafts Crochet. I mentioned when I was doing Hollow Knight last week that I bought another pattern from her and that I'm gonna show you this week, and it is Pochita. Pochita is a character from Chainsaw Man series. It is manga series, and the reason I bought this was my daughter. She loves Pochita, she watched series, she wanted the character for her. So I only made one, and in case this one doesn't sell, it's gonna be hers because she's in love with him and he's cute, but I'm not gonna lie, I made only one just because this pattern broke me. It's not enjoyable pattern. First of all, eyes are too small. And I don't think that's my fault because I've put eyes as suggested in the pattern and I used smaller yarn. This is Hobby Toucan, while the designer, I think she used Alice Veluto. And for me, these eyes are too small. Second of all, this is wire. So it was very fiddly to secure this wire inside the plushie before it's stuffed, and it's so floppy, and I was kind of annoyed, I'm not gonna lie. And this is nothing to do with pattern. This is just me being annoyed with this sew. Nothing else. Pattern is beautiful. Pattern is easy. You are sewing everything. Even this snout piece is sewed on. All the feet are sewn on and the tail is sewn on, and even this thing. So it is full sew on pattern. The body is just the pill shape, easy to crochet. But this broke me because to secure this, it was really hard for me to make sure it is centered in the face. And now that I'm looking from here, is it crooked or not? Or am I just holding it weird? That's why I kind of wasn't in the mood to make more. And I only made one and I've put $55 price on it. I mean, it is okay size. I mean, 55 is... This is a lot, I'm not gonna lie. It was a lot of work for one small plushie. If it doesn't sell for 55, it's gonna be my daughter's. Because you remember that Ikran, the biggest crochet plushie that I have done for my daughter, and then we decided it's gonna be a showstopper for Supanova. If it sells, it sells. If not, not. Well, I've talked to her and I tried to be reasonable and ask her, where are we gonna put Ikran? Where is she gonna go after Supanova? Because that plushie is huge. If you have watched my video and seen the proportion of that plushie against my body, she has nowhere to put it except on the floor. And I'm not gonna move that plushie every time I need to vacuum or clean. I'm gonna be annoyed with that plushie. So we have come to conclusion that I'm gonna price Ikran to sell. First, Ikran was priced not to sell. I've priced her for, I'm saying her because that's what my daughter decided, that the gender is she. That's why I'm talking her. First, I've priced it for $650 for not to sell. And we have come to conclusion that I can price her for $450 to sell. I feel like I'm still underselling myself for the time it took me to create that plushie. Materials were around $150, but honestly, I want that plushie out of my house. It is huge and I don't want to store it. I don't want to hold on to it. If I can get $450, that would be amazing. Honestly, I would be happy even with $350. I just want it out of the house. If it doesn't sell, she still gets to keep it. I don't know where, but all of this to say, I did price this one $55, a bit higher, because it's gonna be hers in the end if it doesn't sell. If it sells, oh well, but if it doesn't, I'm gonna give this to her instead of that Ikran if Ikran sells. I'm really hoping it sells because I don't want to hold onto that giant plushie. So yeah, like I said, Shine Crafts Crochet, it is an amazing pattern. If you are into this character, feel free to check her out. She has a beautiful patterns. Like I said, Hollow Knight from last week is what I did from her, and yeah, she's an amazing pattern designer. But I will never make this one again. It broke me, so I didn't enjoy this part, but oh well, at least I have one to draw some attention to my stall, and that is it. Alright, we are going into some of my bigger makes. Shannon from Snugglebeans Crochet came out with her mini series, and of course I had to have Toothless because I'm doing convention where Toothless was selling really good. Last year I had smaller version. I think it was this size, and I sold him for $80. And then I had standing version also from Snugglebeans Crochet, which sold for $150. But I decided that I do want to try the mini version just because it is a quicker make. I might get more dollars. We'll see. We'll talk about that. This is the mini version in Hobby Toucan yarn, and it is so tiny. Look at him. He is so cute. Almost my hand size, that's how big he is. And it is adorable. I put 25 mil eyes on him. And I think it is worth, even though he is this tiny. Let me check. I've put price $60 on him. Usually all my splitting Pokemons that I'm doing in this same pattern but the large version, I have priced $75 in the beginning, but now I have changed the price to $90. We'll see if that price will sell at Supanova. So I just did 60 for this one. Her Baby Night Fury pattern that I was doing into the splitting version, because I never bought the original toothless splitting version. I was doing Baby Night Fury with the mod, which is on the last page for the splitting version. That size, when I made it in Hobby Toucan, was a bit bigger. Not a lot bigger, but a bit bigger, and I was selling it for $80, no problem. At my uni markets, at Supanova, no issues. This one is a smidge smaller, so I went with 60, even though I feel I could easily maybe get 70. But I don't know, I wasn't sure. I am fine with 60. I do think he is very cute. When it comes to some other splitters, I was charging them, like big splitters, like Figgy the Frog, I was charging $55. So 60 for this tiny one, I think it is still good price. But I didn't stop at one. So this is Hobby Toucan and this is Modavira blanket yarn. I don't have the original Night Fury size in Modavira blanket here with me. It is in my boxes. But when we get to the convention, I'm gonna try to remember and show you this size next to the original size in Modavira blanket yarn. That one I'm charging $120. And this one I will be charging $90. This one is so much quicker to make, I'm not gonna lie. And here is comparison with Hobby Toucan and Modavira blanket yarn. The same pattern. I prefer him in Modavira blanket yarn just because it is so much smaller, but still I could easily get $90 for him. And these are 30 mil eyes. On the bigger version, I use 35 mil eyes. Yeah, I love this one. I think from now on, I might continue making mini one in Modavira blanket yarn rather than bigger one, just because I still get a good size of it, and for $19 I think this is more worth for me because it is definitely less work for a good amount of money. So yeah, that is mini toothless splitter from Snugglebeans Crochet. As usual, her patterns are no sew except for wings and head. That is the only, oh, and tail, I forgot about the tail. That is the only part that you're sewing, but that is the minimum effort. All of this is crocheted in, feet are crocheted in, legs, tail, so nice and quick. I really love him. I wish I had time to make more. I wanted to make again standing version like I had last year. My standing version last year was sold within an hour or two of the convention, and then the smaller versions similar. So Toothless was the first one to go last year. So I only have 3 versions, 3 different sizes, and they are all splitters. So we'll see which size will go first. I'll probably have them next to each other, so you will be able to see all the different sizes for the Toothless, splitting Toothless. So stay tuned for the Supanova vlog. I will show you that. I will definitely show the difference in size. And then I knew I was missing on Espion in the splitting version because I have Eevee, I have Umbreon, and I was missing on Espion. But unfortunately I didn't have enough yarn to make splitting Espion to have them all matching. So I went with the smaller version. This is the Espion smaller version from Crafted for Comfort. I talked about her patterns in one of my previous videos. I bought all 9 of Eevee Evolution Pokemons, but I just didn't have time to make all of them. My biggest problem, I was kind of sick of making Pokemons, I'm not gonna lie. There's so many of them, and then there is that decision fatigue that I have to make decision which one I'm gonna make and how many I'm gonna make, especially with Backmate Studio, because they are so small and I feel like you have to have them all, but then do I want a one or do I want a multiples? It was just so annoying to make the decision on which one are gonna sell, which one not. I was tired of Pokemons, I'm not gonna lie. I went with this one instead of Backmate Studio just because I can get more money. I can make one and get more money instead of making two smaller ones. I have put $60 on this one. I'm not sure. I need to compare the other ones. I think I have Umbreon and I might have put 55 on him, so I might change my mind and only put 55 or 6. I'm still fine with this size. I mean, this guy is 60, so maybe I could go 55 on this one because this one has definitely a lot more parts. So yeah, I'm gonna put 55 for Espion, and I think that is fair enough because I think I've put Glaceon on 60 and I still have Glaceon in my stash, in my inventory, because Glaceon had a lot going on. So yeah, 55 for this one is gonna be fine. These are 25 mil eyes, and these are again those holographic eyes that on some occasion are pink, blue, you don't even know what color it is, but oh well, I didn't have any others, so it's gonna work. This is from Crafted for Comfort. When it comes to Crafted for Comfort, once I did my pattern review on her Pokemons, she reached out to me. Her name is Hege, and she has offered me a free pattern as a thank you for the video that I've done about her patterns. And that was really nice. That was really sweet of her. Honestly, I have been reviewing so many patterns and I have never received a free patterns. All of the patterns that I'm reviewing here on this channel are paid for patterns and I'm paying them with my own money. This was the first time someone has reached out as a thank you to gift me a pattern. I have been gifted a couple of patterns from Shannon from Snugglebeans Crochet as a part of her testing group, but that's not just me. Everyone in the testing group usually receives 1 or 2 free patterns as a thank you for testing, but this is the first time someone has actually gifted me a pattern for doing a pattern review. And thank you so much, Hege, in case you're watching this. I really appreciate it. The pattern I've choose is Togepi, and he's amazing. Look at the size of him. This is done in Modavira Blanky yarn, or for the size reference, if you have Snug as a Bug, that is the same size of the yarn. So this is Snug as a Bug or Modavira blanket yarn size, and he's the size of my head. He is amazing. And the best part, this is completely no-sew pattern. Even the top is no-sew. I enjoyed this pattern so much. Most of her patterns are you have to sew, but not for this one. It is amazing. I think he looks a bit goofy because my eyes are maybe on a side. I don't know. It was really hard to position the eyes before you stuff the body fully, but I don't mind. I think he looks goofy. He looks cute. He's such a nice shape. I don't know, I love him so much. He was the highlight of the week for me. I know I made a lot of things this week, but for some reason he was the highlight. He's hefty. I usually stuff my plushies heavily, so he's a hefty boy and he's so cute. I just can't. I totally recommend this pattern for it to be no-sew. I really enjoyed it. So the way it is constructed, you first do these 5 spikes in the beginning and set them aside because they will be crocheted in later. Then you are doing arms, set them aside, they will be crocheted later. Starting from the bottom, you're working the white part and you're doing this frill on the front loop. Then you're joining yellow in the back loop and continuing with head. And then you are doing a special technique for this to join them in the round. This wasn't the new technique for me. This is something that Nooks Hooks is using for her cow snout. It is the way how to crochet two sides in the round without having holes. It is really nice technique, so it wasn't new to me, but it was really beautiful to see that this is done in that technique. And then you're just closing off. Straightforward. You do have some embroidery because Togepi has these markings on him, but none of this was hard. It is really a great written pattern and I really enjoyed making him. Thank you so much, Hege, for gifting this to me. I really enjoyed this and it was a beautiful make, beautiful pattern and fairly quick make. I mean, this is Modavira blanket, so it's not as quick as it would be if you have done it in chenille yarn, but fairly quick make. So I definitely recommend this pattern. And now let's just quickly run through the embroidery that I did this week. So we have 6 Pokeballs, and yes, as you can tell, I have started to cut them. I have 4 Murder Raccoons. I have 3 of Patrick Star. I have 3 of Dano Pokemon. I hope that's how you pronounce it. I'm not sure. I didn't do all the Pokemons. First of all, I didn't even go and buy more vinyl. I'm missing on orange vinyl, so I couldn't do any Pokemon in orange or teal. I just didn't have time to embroider all of them, so I just didn't bother to have them all. I have 2 of Mu Dang. I'm not sure if you know who is Mo Dang. She was very popular 2 years ago. She was that hippo from Thailand that went viral, and yeah, I'm just made 2 of her. I'm curious to see if anyone is going to recognize her, but I do really think she's adorable. Look how cute she is. And then I have 2 of Mothman. This one was a heavy stitch out. This took, I think, like 45 minutes for one, so I only did 2 of them to see if they were sell or anything like that, just to test out the waters. And that is it for this week when it comes to crochet and embroidery. But I do have something else. Since I am very struggling with anxiety coming forward to this Supanova convention, it is a lot. I mean, it is very overwhelming for me as someone who suffers anxiety. And one thing that helped me with that is knitting beanies. If you remember last year, I was obsessively knitting beanies. I've knit 50 beanies last year, 26 of them I have donated and the rest I have kept for my markets. Some of them I have sold. I will be bringing beanies with me to Supanova because if I can sell them, why not? And since I was very anxious, knitting beanies is very relaxing for me because I'm knitting chunky ribbed beanies by Passionate Kelsey. It is her free pattern. She has a YouTube tutorial. It is double-stranded beanie, which is very fun to make, and the rhythmic motion of 1x1 rib is very relaxing for me. So much that I have made 3 beanies. And I have 2 more on my needles and they will definitely be done before Supanova, so I will have another 5 beanies to add to my stash. I went with more black and like very basic colors because what I have in my stash at the moment is very full of colors and crazy colors, which I don't mind, but I was really lacking on some plain basic black and gray colors, and this was so relaxing. I haven't done beanies I think since January. That was when I was last prepping to beanies for the charity, and this I enjoyed so much making this. This is the only thing that is keeping me calm for this past week, and I wouldn't be able to survive without knitting these beanies. I really adore making these beanies, and I think anything that doesn't sell at Supanova, I still have one uni market in the winter. After that I will be donating all of these beanies to charity because I don't want to hold on them. I have so much yarn that I can knit for the next year, and again, whatever doesn't sell is gonna go to charity, and that's how I'm gonna work through my acrylic yarn. So yeah, that is it for this week. It was a busy week for me. When I look into the numbers with embroidery and crochet, I did $994 altogether. That is amazing. I'm not gonna lie. To add almost $1,000 to my inventory in a week, it's amazing, and I'm really happy with that. So stay tuned for one more video of market prepping, and with all of that, thank you so much for watching, and until next time, happy crafting.